Hi, I'm Nadja. I'm an artist from the Netherlands, and since 2012 I have filled many sketchbooks. I like to create cute and whimsical art, and almost all ideas for my illustrations and paintings have sprouted as a little sketch in my sketchbook. I dare to say that my sketchbook and pencil are the two most important art supplies for my art practice, more so than any expensive art supply I could own. Through the years, I have learned which sketchbooks are my absolute favorites. Today, I will let you know which books and art supplies I like to use for graphite pencil sketches and drawings. I will show you these favorite sketchbooks and the art supplies I use for sketching. Nothing in this video is sponsored. These are all opinions I gathered through lots of sketching. I will link all art supplies down below. And by the way, if you like to see cozy videos revolving around cute art and art studio vlogs, please subscribe and join our little art community. First, I'd like to mention why I like sketchbooks and why I try to keep my sketching habit alive. If you'd like to skip straight to the art supplies, you can hop to the next chapter of the video. Well, through the years, sketching has become an integral part of my art making process. In my sketchbooks, I keep my characters, their surroundings, my memories and ideas. Without my sketchbook, many ideas I have would be forgotten and never acted upon. As mentioned, almost all of my finished artworks have started with just a tiny note, doodle or sketch in my sketchbook. Sometimes it will sit there for weeks or months, and in some cases years, before I discover it again, or it clicks with something I'm working on, and inspiration strikes to make a larger artwork. I don't necessarily sketch every single day. I have done it in the past, but now I mostly sketch on my working days in the art studio and during creative moments in my spare time. Some periods I sketch a lot, and others I only sketch every couple of weeks. In any case, I never stop sketching as long as I'm creating art. I do need to enjoy the quality of a sketchbook though. Let's start with what kind of qualities I look for in a sketchbook. The paper needs to be off-white. I do not like the look of bleached paper. I don't think it really complements my drawings. And the book needs to have a hardcover. I just prefer it that way. I don't really like the flimsy sketchbook covers, but that's really a personal preference. I like my sketchbook to be perfect bound. I do not like a viral binding because it gets in the way while drawing and things can get very uncomfortable really quick. The fourth point, which is probably the most important, is that I prefer the texture of the paper to be very soft. Not so soft that it smudges extremely, but soft enough to be able to add a lot of detail with soft pencils and to use a blending stick effectively. So without further ado, I'm going to show you my absolute favorite sketchbook. This is my number one. It is the Hahnemühle Nostalgie sketchbook. Here you can see a fresh one that's still in the packaging, and right over here is one that I'm currently using. It has a really nice hardcover and it is a very nice quality. It's perfect bound and it has a little reading ribbon, which isn't really something that is a must for me, but it does really add some extra convenience. I've been using this sketchbook for many years now. When I first tried it years ago, I sketched in it for an entire year and I was sold. I'm really in love with this sketchbook. It really has never let me down. Now, what makes this book so special? It's very thick paperweight, not too thick, but just thick enough. The paperweight is 190 grams. It's 80 pages. I typically fill a sketchbook like this in 1 year. I do have several sketchbooks I use at the same time though, one for commissions, one for my world building project, and just my main sketchbook that I use on a weekly basis. The Hahnemühle logo is embossed on the back of the book, and You can see that the paper isn't bleached. It's a nice soft off-white. It's also mentioned here, it's natural white sketch paper with fine grain for defined pen control and delicate hatchings. And that is just exactly why I love the book so much. My pencil sketches are very soft and detailed. I've tried sketchbooks with a rougher texture in the past and it's just not working for me, both because of the sensation while drawing. I'm very particular about textures, and whenever I draw, I just want to have that soft, buttery feeling almost when my pencil is gliding over the paper. But there is a limit to that, of course. You also don't want your paper to be too soft. I just think this paper is perfect. It's not too soft, it's not too hard. It really has a nice buttery texture. The sketchbook comes in several sizes. I use the A4 size. I really like to have a large, chunky sketchbook. I like to put the sketchbook on top of the drawing board, and it's just a perfect size for that. I've also used the landscape A5 size, which is also very much okay. I just prefer to have a slightly bigger one. I also would like to mention here that Hahnemühle also has this paper block. It's also Nostalgie. This one is A4 size, but I believe that they also have it in smaller sizes. This is the same paper that's also in the sketchbook. And although it isn't a sketchbook, I think this is very nice and handy because you can take the paper out. And sometimes when I sketch for a commission project and I would like to add the sketch as a gift to the person that has requested the commission, it's nice that I can just take it out. It's also nice whenever you make a little mistake in your sketchbook and you want to get creative, and you can just cut a little piece of paper out and attach it to your sketchbook with some washi tape, which I've done in the past. And sometimes you also just want to make a standalone pencil piece, which this is perfect for, and afterwards you can hang or frame your illustration or even sell it. So I thought this was worth mentioning. There is one other sketchbook that is right there in my top 2. It's a close runner-up. It's the Letterwish Sketchbook. And if not for the quality, the cover alone would have sold me, I think. I know it's not wise to judge a book by its cover, but I mean, it's really gorgeous. It's embossed. It's a handmade book, which makes it all the more magical. And I really like that you can see the handmade binding. It also has a hardcover. And I just really like all of those intricate details on the cover. The book comes in several colors, and I have a couple of them. This one is the most recent one that I found. It is one of my favorite colors, turquoise, and I'm not using this one yet because I have to finish my other main sketchbook first, and I think I will be working in that throughout the year. So this one is patiently waiting for me. Now, what makes this book a close runner-up? It lays perfectly flat, which is really an advantage. The Hahnemühle book doesn't really lay 100% flat, but this one does. The color of the paper is very similar to the Hahnemühle one. I will compare that real quick. The Hahnemühle is slightly more off-white. The Letterwish one also is not bleached. It's a really natural paper. This size is smaller. I believe it is slightly larger than A5. Yes, it's larger than A5. So it's between an A5 and an A4. I really like the paper of the Letterwish one as well. The reason why it is second and not first is because this paper is slightly softer. So I really do like the feel when drawing. That is absolutely 100% perfect. But I have noticed that the sketches in these sketchbooks do smudge quite a bit. Whenever I do make an intricate graphite drawing, so not a quick sketch, but really a graphite drawing that has hours of work put into it, I often just try to preserve it by adding a little bit of baking paper. This is really inexpensive and it protects the drawings really well. Of course, you can also use a fixative in your sketchbooks, which I don't. I never have really looked into which fixatives are out there. I just really don't like strong smelling chemicals and I try to refrain from using them. But I would definitely consider using them on finished pieces that I am selling or framing. But up until now, my sketches have been really well preserved in my sketchbooks and I try to cover them up as much as I can when they shouldn't smudge and damage. I'm very happy to own a couple of these ones. But in the end, I do notice that I purchase more Hahnemühle Nostalgie sketchbooks because they are just a little bit more convenient and I really have gotten used to them. And but this is a very close second favorite. I have opened both types of sketchbooks. This is a Letterwish sketchbook that I filled in 2022 and this is a sketchbook that I'm working in right now. It is the Nostalgie book, but I just wanted to show you these sketches to compare them, and as you can see, both work very well. If you also like to work very fine and detailed, I think these sketchbooks are really great. And you can see that they do not really differ. So I don't feel that my drawings look really different and they both work similarly. I do feel that this one does smudge a little bit more, is a little bit softer. But I think for as far as the quality of the drawings go, they both work perfectly. Also not unimportant are the pencils I use in my sketchbooks, and Faber-Castell is my absolute favorite brand for pencils. I have this case, but you can also just purchase single pencils. These are the ones that I find myself using most often. The other brand I use here is Staedtler, the Mars Lumograph, and these ones are the Castell 9000 series. There is of course a difference between the pencils. My case isn't full anymore because I have added some pencils to my pencil case, but they range from hard to soft and I tend to use very soft pencils. So the ones that are coated with B, with increased numbers they get softer. So this is 5B, which is a pretty soft pencil, and the 8B, for example, is a lot softer. So I mostly use softer pencils, and most often I will be working with 3B or 4B, sometimes 5B. I use these very soft pencils to add a lot of darker values to my drawings. They are perfect for adding sharp shadows and for very dark details. So I do use them for details, but the drawing itself I will mostly be using this one, and I can still work a lot with different values with this one. With this one it would get very dark very fast. But anyways, I do think the Faber-Castell and the Staedtler pencils are really, really good. I do think there are also some other great brands for pencils, so I'm not that picky, I must say, with graphite pencils. Not so much as I am with my sketchbook and my color pencils. Let's make a little detour. You may have seen that I also use color pencils in my sketchbook. That's also a thing that I do love about both the Letterwish sketchbook and the Hahnemühle sketchbook, is that I can use my Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils in them and they just glide over the paper and I'm able to build the color pencil up and layer it. I have used other brands before, but I just landed on these ones because of the quality and the range in colors, and yeah. I think this is a good pick for a color pencil. They come in several quantities, very luxurious packaging for some of them. And if you're starting out with color pencils, you can get them in smaller quantities as well. You can also get this one in single color pencils. This is the eraser I am using at the moment. It's a Staedtler Mars plastic, just a very simple eraser that does the job. I also have the Tombow mono plastic eraser, and this is the same brand that has these tiny erasers. I tend to work pretty small, so I use these ones a lot. I don't only use them to erase tiny lines, but I also like to add little details, tiny bits of white to create a glimmer or some snowflakes, which these are perfect for. And they come with this. This has been in my, oh gosh, these are so dirty. which doesn't really matter. When you start using them, the dirt goes away. But these are the refills. They have been in my pencil case, so they are smudged quite a bit. They are very small, I believe 2.3 millimeter. I have been using these ones for years, so they are very durable and I can just refill them whenever I need to. For sharpening my pencils, I use this very heavy, sturdy, I believe it is brass M&R sharpener. If it doesn't sharpen that well anymore, you can replace the knives for sharper ones. I've been using this for quite some time and it is really, really good quality and I believe also quite inexpensive. And this is also an item that I gladly use when working in my sketchbook. It isn't really a necessity, but whenever I use it, it does come in handy to smudge the pencil intentionally, add some shadows or some light backgrounds, or use it to softly fill in the shape that you are drawing. They have them in several sizes and it's also very inexpensive. Some other items that I use are is this clip to hold the pages together. In the Letterwish sketchbook, this isn't really a necessity because a Nostalgia book doesn't really have like this flat lay when working. I like to use this one also when I'm working in the sketchbook upside down and I need to keep the upper part of the book closed. It's really nice to use it. And I sometimes also use masking tape to get those nice crisp edges around a sketch in my sketchbook. But you do really want to make sure to heat the masking tape with a blow dryer before removing it, because otherwise you may damage your sketchbook pages, which is always such a bummer. I hope this information was helpful to you. I wonder if you already use sketchbooks or if you're maybe just getting into sketching yourself. Are these sketchbooks and art supplies you have tried? Or do you have any other favorites and preferences to share with us? Do let us know in the comments and I really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for being here.